stocks and charts in autos. Renita Young and Rick Ducad joining me for a little news flow here, stemming largely from George Soros and some big investments. Tesla shares are up sizably this morning. Renita, really leading some of the charge here in the big tech comeback throughout the session. Definitely some of this coming from Soros, but not the only story for Tesla today.
No, not the only story. Tesla's got a bunch of news happening. So let's start out with the 13Fs that came out not too long ago. George Soros took another huge stake in Tesla, and it's valued now at over $40 billion for his entire stake in Tesla, all of those positions. And then Tesla increased the price of its Model Y vehicle by $1,000. That brings it now to about $58,000, a little bit over that. And then they decreased the price of the Model 3 rear-wheel drive, and that's now at about $42,990. It's a $500 decrease of that vehicle. Now, both vehicles still qualify for the tax credit of up to $7,500. This is all according to Reuters. And also, Tesla has union action happening in New York State. Workers have reportedly launched unionization efforts. They apparently sent an email to Elon Musk saying that they want better pay, they want job security, and they want a reduction in the production processes that they say, or pressures rather, that they say have been pretty harmful to their health. So it's a lot happening with Tesla today.
Wow, it really is. I'm most interested in the pricing stuff because Soros adding on to the stake, hey, that certainly is notable. But we've had a lot of big investors make some big decisions here in the last month in a lot of different companies. We've seen more activism, so kind of fits in with the buying the dip some of these large institutional investors have been doing in a lot of these beaten down tech companies. The pricing is interesting because for the Model Y actually going up a little bit when most of the prices have been getting cut, but then the Model 3 gets the cut, right? So I guess it's kind of, we have it both ways, and ultimately you're going to get the $7,500 if you qualify.
If you qualify, and remember, it's up to $7,500. So
True.
You might not get the whole $7,500.
Yeah. Okay. But still, definitely, obviously helps. Makes a big difference.
Oh yeah.
Okay. So stock is kind of stuck here at $200. It seems like after this huge rip off the low, Rick.
Yeah, about 97% off those yearly lows. That was the start of this rally upward, so nothing to sneeze at there. Moving averages are starting to turn upward, and it looked like we did take a pause right around that level you mentioned. 197 to 200 was the site of two previous highs in this chart in October. So interesting candle action today, too. It's looking like we're on pace to form a bullish engulfing candle, which is where the real body, the distance between the open and close, entirely encompasses the real body of the previous day. So that's a bullish signal
That's
here.
this today?
Yep, that's forming today. Obviously, we have to wait for the close, but it's looking pretty likely that that's going to happen at this point. RSI, is dipping out of the overbought area, and when you couple the pause at resistance with the RSI looking a little more slow, you might be tempted to think that that's a bit more bearish. But to me, I think we're actually forming a bull flag type pattern here, where we have a large move upward, a brief consolidation or down move in, and then it's gearing up for the next move upward here. And not a guarantee, of course, not a recommendation. That's something that just happens commonly when a stock is making a strong move upward. And note too that we're in the we're coming out of one of these volume nodes. There's quite a few gaps in between these nodes here, so beware of fast moving prices around that point. Resistance to the upside, purple 250 2-day EMA near about 223. Support to the downside right here near the lower part of this channel, and the 21-day EMA near 176.
Which also conveniently, if you don't mind me, goes right over basically to where you are in that kind of top of the gap for your volume profile. So if it does get that next leg, you're looking at like 220, 222 potentially. I mean, it does kind of seem like this is the market right now today. It is really trying to make a big decision. Pivotal data. We had a big sell-off, then we had a monster rally, and we're basically directionless. But this is one of those moments where if we're going to have a big move, Tesla's going to be a big part of it. So watching to see if it does break out 222 next stop, $200. So kind of a magnet right now a little bit.
Yeah.
Okay.
Interesting chart, to say the least.
Definitely. Always is with Tesla. All right. Let's talk GM, because Soros is going to get a little bit of both here, I guess, Renita.
He did. He got 500,000 shares of GM valued at just under $17 million. And that's probably what's got the stock up a little bit today and got people more excited about it, because really not a whole lot happening with GM today other than that. And some spillover from its ad from the Super Bowl, of course. People are still kind of talking about that. All these anti-Tesla ads that came out with a bunch of different car companies. But GM is in a strong position. It's up 26% year to date. And it did recently report better than expected fourth quarter results, and it issued a strong guidance for 2023. So Soros, even though this happened, at the fourth quarter, he set these or bought 500,000 shares of the company. It did very much forecast a little bit more success of what may be to come right now.
He's dumping Twitter, and it kind of seems like he's moving more towards a little bit more of the kind of manufacturing style, pro-cyclical stocks that you want to own if we are going to come out of a slowdown in the economy and recover. You want to own cars. It seems like maybe he's done with some of the COVID trades a little bit. 500,000 shares, pretty big deal for Soros. Maybe not quite as conviction as he's got in the Tesla trade.
Right.
But still, it helps.
Worth noting, though, he also dumped Zoom Video. But
that's the other one, yeah.
Right, Zoom. But he took stakes in Carvana. Who's done that lately?
So he likes cars.
He likes cars. This dude likes cars. So he took stakes in Carvana. He also took positions in Lyft and Peloton. So Lyft, another car situation. Okay, yeah. Peloton, it's a steady bike, but he took a position in it.
Hey, it gets you somewhere.
Gets you somewhere.
All right, so Mr. Soros and team, big on the transport right now. GM stock, a lot different looking than Tesla. My first response is it looks better, but it also may not have the potential that Tesla does if we really break out. Or I don't know. I mean, maybe it does. Rick, you tell us.
What's looked a bit more range-bound to me lately than Tesla. Tesla had a dramatic move up
Correct.
Off the lows, and GM had a similar move. We had kind of a triple bottoming type pattern. Not very clean here, but we are up about 39% off of those yearly intraday lows back in June. Very curious price action recently, though. 8 of the past 9 days have been green, but we've barely made any progress beyond that 42 level for much of that time. And also, we had some interesting candle action here. We had a Harami candle, which is the opposite of our bullish engulfing candle, where the real body is completely encompassed by the previous day. So it's the reverse here. That was right there. Then we had another bullish engulfing, and then another bullish engulfing here. So it's seeming like we could be building up some momentum here. RSI is quite high, but not quite in the overbought area here. So look for a convincing break above the 42 level and a move into the overbought area to see some potential strength in this name. Now, the 43 level is where price topped out here and here, so that's another point to watch to the upside. That's where the bulls would want to see that move transitioning to from the overbought area. Major support confluence as well right here between about 39 to 40. We've got our volume profile point of control, the area with the heaviest trading during the past year, 21-day exponential moving average, 252-day exponential moving average, and a high and a low that we're right around there. So keep that in mind.
All right, nice. Lot to keep in mind. Basically, a range-bound stock with a fairly wide range, like 41 down to 31 on the more longer term, but then the short-term range that you're outlining to us, kind of tight coiled up. So a fun one to watch, where potential breakout in either direction could be pretty exciting. And a stock that is unique in that it's trading in a range above the long-term average, too. We got above that, and then we just kind of settled in.
Yeah.
So to me, seems fairly positive for
Trading
GM.
above all three of its moving averages, long,
Right.
medium, and short.
That's kind of why, compared to Tesla, you may not get the bang for your buck if the market goes higher, but you also have quite a bit more support, it seems like. Where after 100% rally in Tesla on the year, if the thing turns around, it could be in a world of trouble. whereas GM maybe has a little bit more kind of short-term support potential based on the ranges that have been carved out. But that's the nature of trading high beta versus not. Okay, one more here. Ford, not to be forgotten. I guess we got to keep them in the mix, Renita.
We do. We got to kind of keep them in the mix, especially when you're making more job cuts. So Ford, those shares turned lower not too long ago. And when initially it looked like the market might have been rewarding Ford for cutting jobs, now it looks a little bit different. So Ford is cutting 3,800 jobs in Europe. 2,800 of them will be within the engineering unit, and about 1,000 of them are going to be from sales, marketing, and administration, also distribution groups in Europe.
Wow.
And so the company says that they want to respond to this rapidly changing market and the competition in EVs. The other two cars we talked about, huge competition, obviously, as Ford tries to get that F-150 EV, as well as other models possibly, off the ground. By the way, Auto Show is in Chicago this week. Did you know that?
I do know that. I'm going, actually.
Yeah, me too. But
don't got a driver's license, don't matter.
no license, no problem, right? But Ford may be in a little bit of a snag here, having to cut its jobs. Haven't heard any updates yet about any U.S. job cuts. But this speaks to one of the main concerns of unions, the shift to EV, not making more jobs in factories or cutting out more jobs in factories. And you can see most of the jobs went from engineering. And so that's a telltale sign there from the folks who are in the factories making these vehicles.
We've kind of seen this pattern too, where when a tech company or a cloud stock or whatever it may be, or a consumer social media business cuts jobs, stock rallies. But if you're in a different category, if you're an automaker, if you're a manufacturer, and you're cutting jobs, markets are a little bit more hesitant to reward you for that, maybe thinking more about what it might say for your potential to ramp up to meet demand. Okay, very interesting actually, Ford. And I mean, the worst chart of the three maybe, Rick?
If you would have asked me a couple weeks ago about this chart, I would have said things did not look very promising.
Okay.
But I think that the price action more recently, we've seen a big breakout to the upside beyond this downward sloping blue trend line here. So now we're establishing this white uptrend line. We're up about 30% off those lows or so. And today, though, we are hitting a potential stalling point. We're hitting the 252-day exponential moving average in purple, just around the 13 level. But we are also pushing above that volume profile point of control, the area of heaviest trading here. So things have calmed down a little bit after the earnings. It was looking like we were having a kind of a runaway breakout move there. But now we're kind of back where we were before the earnings. So 14 to the upside, this red dashed line, near the start of this gap, where price topped out here and about here, and that's not exact. I just picked the closest round number here for ease of reference. To the downside, lots of support here. We've got our 21-day EMA, 63-day EMA, and our old trend line, all between about 12 and 13, so there's quite a bit of potential support there to contend with.
Okay. All right, interesting. Ford kind of consolidating around that high volume profile area. Maybe a little, magnetism there too. Okay, interesting charts. Certainly Ford and GM different than Tesla, but none of them exactly the same by any means. All right, thanks, Renita, Rick, for the lowdown here on the autos trade.